So I've got to confess, there's been a bit of a mess up over times, because we were meant to be doing a roundtable with Medyhne, who is in Australia, Brice at Atlanta, myself in the UK, and David, who's in Perth, David Cohen, who's in Perth, Australia. But because the American and UK clocks have changed, we've sprung forward, these bloody clock changes, on Australia haven't, we've all got the times mixed up. So instead of our normal round table, the three of us are just going to do a quick sort of little update for you all about where we're all at with our channels, and then we will reschedule and get David on board. So let's go round for the news. Let's start with you, Brice, because Brice has got some really exciting news to share about a really exciting interview she did this morning.
Well, today is my day of Australians. Of course, we're missing David. Early this morning, which was late for you guys in Australia, I filmed with Tamara and Ricardo Bozzi. And I kept it really quiet. I told Catherine because I didn't know, you never know. It was such an incredible conversation. And I mean, I love Australians anyway. I always just have such a soft spot in my heart for Australians. But I told him in the interview, like, even as a non-Australian, I look at him as a leader in this movement, just for humans anyway, the way a lot of people outside of America looked to Mr. T as a leader in this great awakening. And one thing I was telling Catherine that I loved about Ricardo Bozzi is, and I'm paraphrasing, guys, you'll have to watch the full interview, so I'm not quoting him verbatim, but he talked about how, like, right now we're so focused on, collapsing the old system, that we also have to plan for the new one as well. We can't just, because then what do we do? The best is yet to come, but we have to create that best. And we all have to be involved in that. And I think that's something Catherine and we've talked about a lot, is that it's not just handing the ball over to another leader, because that's what got us in the mess we were in the first place. It's all of us being actively involved in our communities and helping create a new governmental system that's going to be fair and that's going to allow people to prosper in their God-given freedoms and rights. And so that's really exciting. I really liked that he brought that up, because that's our responsibility as humans, is to make sure. He said something funny too, which I thought was awesome, that especially in Australia, like what's going on in y'all's capital, that the teenagers need to be recording this, because in 50 years time, they're going to be the ones to keep on telling the stories of what humanity did. I thought that was amazing to keep. And I had the other day, I was in the bath and I thought I should get a journal. I should start journaling again about all of this, just to have it written down, what we all experienced. And so that interview is up. The full interview is obviously on my Rumble page, but there is an intro on the YouTube channel. So you can just click to the link over to Rumble to get the full conversation with Ricardo Bozzi and Tamara. And they're at the capital of Australia doing what they're doing, and God bless them. And as far as other things happening on my channel, next week, we're going to be finishing up our first Magdalene book. That has been a huge success, that series. And we're going to be starting the new Magdalene book, which is the Magdalene manuscript. That's going to get a little bit racy because it talks about sex. So looking forward to that. So
that'll hook them in.
Looking forward to that one.
I'm talking about sex. So, but yeah, that's really exciting, because this was what we were going to talk about our round table tonight, which we'll probably do next week now, is all about solutions. And all of us, and David included, were really, really focused on now moving forward into the creation. Of course, we're still keeping up to date with what's going on, because knowledge is power, but we're really all focused on the solution side of things. So Medyhne, we've dragged you up very early in the morning. How are you? What's happening with your channel and what you're working on at the moment?
Sure. Well, I've got some protection workshops that I've been offering. I did one a couple of weeks ago for people with beautiful invocations and prayers, and also clearings for your energy. So, we're all being very impacted by the global energies as well as our own individual energies. And so to be able to clear our energies at the moment is really important, and to be able to sort of release the baggage that we're collecting along the way. And so these protection workshops help with that, which is fantastic. And so that was, you know, some wonderful testimonials from that, you know, from people that have now skills that they didn't have before that they can utilize through this time period and, you know, in an ongoing way. So I'm offering that again in a couple of weeks, which is really exciting. And continuing, you know, with my global clientele, which is great. We are just currently at the moment getting more rains here in, like, I remember the last time I spoke to you was sort of around the same time, and the rains are really coming down again. You know, bioengineered is what it looks like. Rob Deutsch does some wonderful weather reports on the manipulations that are happening with the weather, and so, you know, that there are more evacuations in Lismore again at the moment, and the rains are coming down really heavily. So, you know, just more prayers to Australia would be great. I really, really love the concept too, that with all this weather manipulation that's happening, that we can actually really contribute to shifting that. So we can send the water beautiful energy. We can send it energy to cleanse. So we can send it energy to not harm people. We can send it energy to bring love and bring you know, the energies that we need to move forward, and to be able to as well, you know, with the shaman, you know, in the Native American Indians, they would rain dance when they needed rain. Well, in the same way, we can ask the rain to only come to us in ways that benefit us, you know, so we can also work with water in that way. And I think that's a really important message to give to people, that we can also program the water in the way that we want it to be working with us. So I think if people have that message, you know, that they're not stuck in the victim consciousness with everything that's going on, thinking, you know, this is being done to us, we can actually, we're very, very empowered, and water holds so much energy, you know, as the Masaru Emoto, the Japanese fellow, spoke about, who wrote the book, The Secret or The Hidden Meaning of Water. He talked about, you know, how we can program water really easily. So I think that's a really important thing to say, that we are empowered, and we can influence very strongly what's happening here as well, you know, with our energy. We are more empowered than the dark. The light is stronger than the dark. So I think that's a really good thing to get across. And so in terms of my community, I want to continue working with energetically with what's happening in Australia and globally. And probably I'm thinking about starting a Patreon community. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I have a Patreon. Patrons are great. I love my patrons. My patrons have kept me going. So we love you,
Have
Patreon.
you had that for a long time, Brice?
Yeah, I have. And
Yes.
they literally are my rock stars, because I mean, everybody watching, I mean, people are very kind. And so yeah, and people, I think I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think a lot of people understand how much energy we put into our channels, which it is a full-time job. You know.
100%. It's so much work. Can I say, Brice, too, this is really exciting. I had a comment on my comment section saying that I should do a chat with your lovely friend Taylor Moon. And so we did and I listened to that because I read all the comments, and so we did this chat, and we got such beautiful comments from it. You know, it was really lovely. So yeah, that was very exciting.
Great.
Thank you
Yeah.
for putting me in
hard
touch
worker.
with. Yes,
It's a good idea. That's something I've been thinking of but haven't got round to, because I've got lots of exciting things coming on my channel, having a real change in focus, and sort of my channel really reflects, like both of yours do, where I am on a personal level and the journey that I'm moving forward to. So I've spent the last sort of 2 years very much on a journey of discovery, and I liken it to almost going through the grief cycle, where we're all moving through the cycle of all these emotions, but we're all moving through at our own pace in our own time, and that's exactly the way it should be. So for me, so long as it doesn't get deleted again, because I've already lost one channel, so I'm being very careful now and putting the more contentious stuff on Rumble. But what I'm doing is, this is almost like my journal. I'm using it as my journal and as sort of a reference point for what a normal person is going through, and sort of being, all of us are very open and honest about our emotions, about what we're feeling. So I'm so excited to really be solution focused. Yes, I am keeping up to date with what's going on because knowledge is power, but I'm very much then helping to just offer up for people to take or leave as it resonates with them or doesn't, different solutions. So I'm halfway through, which I sort of got the idea from Brice's, my book club on manifesting, and that's just been received really, really well. And what I do is, it's like where I'm really focusing, bringing these things more into my life. Like Brice and I are doing the meditation series, and we've got a really exciting episode. We had a lovely one last week with Nick Alvia, and we've got one coming up very shortly with Sean Stone, which is going to be amazing. So people sharing their different ways and what's working for them and their gifts. And I am reactivating the health side of things, because the natural health and working on harmony with nature for humans and animals, and all the natural remedies. So I've spent years developing formulas to make my natural soaps, my natural gels, my natural ointments, all the healing things. I've got courses already available for using those with dogs and horses. And I'm really I've been doing a lot of work over the last month, really working with some amazing new people, because what I'm combining is bringing the natural solutions with moving forward to support the ethical companies that are going to help us move forward to our new future. Because I strongly believe that, money is just a form of energy, and therefore where we choose to put that energy is giving a very clear message to the universe in terms of, this is what we want moving forward, as opposed to continuing with the old habits of spending, which might be supporting companies that we don't really want to be moving forward unless they transform.
Yeah. I think that is such a great point. We've got to really think about which are the big corporations. Are we going to support those, the ones that are crushing all the small businesses and, making these billion upon billion dollar profits, and I think if everything that we buy, we take it back to the core root of where that money's going, I think that's super important. And I have the same impetus as you, Catherine, that I'm really focused again on solutions and health solutions. So I'm also just starting a soul evolution series. So working on how we can work with our soul to really work with the energies and go in the flow of the energy, so that we can work toward our own ascension. I mean, the number one thing that we really all should be focusing on the minute is our own soul growth, our own soul evolution. How, we're incarnated in this reality because it actually accelerates our growth as a soul. Because of the density, we can actually accomplish more. So this is the key opportunity in this moment as well, to ride the wave of the ascension and utilize these energies that are so about change, so about, transforming who we are. And so my evolution series is a whole range of ways that we can do that. So I just want to mention that as well.
It's amazing. I was telling Catherine before we were filming, I put something about this on Twitter, but I don't think people thought I was serious. I've been microdosing for like a week now. And it's actually, I think I'm going to do this for a really long time, because
is it like homeopathics, where you just have a small amount of something?
And very small amounts of, very small amounts. So I will admit I've had my fun with large amounts. Very spiritual experiences with large amounts. I think some trees talked to me last time I did that, but I haven't done it in a very long time. And we actually had talked to Nick from Good Lion TV about he did a whole thing on like DMT and all that kind of stuff. And so I watched his documentary, and the clip of Joe Rogan talking about this. I was like, I'm gonna try this. I'm just gonna, so many people, we have a friend here in Atlanta who's like 90-year-old grandmother is doing it. So I was like, I'm going to try this. And so it's very, very tiny amount, nothing happy. You don't see anything. You function like normal. But what it's done for me, the last 4 months have been really brutal. And I didn't realize, we get stuck in these little habits, these patterns. And I didn't realize that I was stuck in like a survival mode. And I hadn't actually allowed myself, because my brain was in survival mode, I had not allowed myself to really sit back into the sorrow of everything that had happened. And what's happened this weekend was all of a sudden it relaxed my brain enough to actually be able to sit into that and actually cry. And it was very releasing and very cathartic. And, you know, this is, and I said to somebody, it's almost like if you've ever, I mean, I've done it before I really understood how bad pharmaceuticals were. If you've taken like an antidepressant or something, it kind of gives you the same type of feeling, but it's natural, and it relaxes it. Well, it doesn't, I don't know if it relaxes the brain, it opens the brain more. And so you're perceiving things in a little bit different of a way that's really healing. It's been very healing. And so many people, I've read articles that people have written, I've listened to interviews that have people who've really benefited from doing this, from microdosing. And I know a lot of people who even struggle with headaches, migraine headaches, will do it just for that alone. So I want to make that clear. It doesn't, you know, you're still functioning. You're not, nothing really shifts as far as you're not partying, you know, you're not like at a fish concert, dirt twirling all day. Like it's very, that's what we say in the United States, dirt twirling, the noodlers, you know, the dirty hippies at the fish concerts. But you're able to maintain your life and work and drive and do everything else. It's just, it's given you more of your brain, more of a way to kind of like settle into itself more.
Where can people maybe look up that and get more information on that, Brice, if they're interested?
Well, again, our friend Nick from Good Lion TV, the DMT documentary he did also talks about microdosing as well. There's a lot of resources out there. I'm not like the connoisseur when it comes to psychedelics. Believe it or not, I'm not. But you can find a lot of stuff out there that will tell. It's tiny. It's like the size, the amount you take every day. It's like the size of a dime in the United States. Dimes are like the smallest coin we have. It's about the size of what you take. You just chew it up and eat it in the morning, and you know,
like
you don't even really.
Yeah, because you have a tiny amount with homeopathics to be able to create the immunity. To be able to deal with things. So it's the same sort of concept.
It's the same sort, but with homeopathics, you haven't got any of the actual substance left in it. You've got the energetic signature coming back to the Dr. Emoto. It's similar to that. So it's fascinating. I'm just all for these people just really, you know, grasping what nature has to offer. And it's really important, this subject of recognizing where you are at as an individual and what you need right here, right now. And the sort of, I've been doing a similar sort of processing of, you know, I think everyone who's watching this, we're all going through our stages of having to let go of certain things and process everything that might be going with that and welcome in, making space for the new. And we were again talking about this before when we were waiting. With the time change mess up, you know, about how it's such a cliche that you need to create the space in your life to allow new things of whatever it might be to come in. And it's so important, because when you do let go of what is no longer serving you, however painful or not that process might be, it's amazing, isn't it, Brice, what comes in to fill the gaps.
And the universe, I mean, I was telling Catherine before, I mean, I really feel very blessed, even though I've been through hell and back, I do feel very blessed by the universe. Like I have a really great life, and things are just, I'm really relaxed, and things are just coming in, and it's wonderful. But I'll tell you guys funny. So the first day I did it, it'd been like 2 hours since I did it. And I was actually sitting on my yoga mat, and I was like texting everybody. I was like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And I was like, you're not supposed to. So I was actually expecting to have have this like real groovy experience, but everyone's like, you're not supposed to feel anything. Like it's a micro dose. So I was like literally waiting. I was like, come on.
It's like a really good analogy for what we've all been doing on a global scale. You know, how much of the conversation over the last year and a half, 2 years has revolved around, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? So it's so fascinating when we look at, and we will be carrying on, folks, with this discussion when we get David on board, when we reschedule, of how much of what we're doing in our own individual journeys are obviously a reflection, because we are all connected, and we are together, we all create. the world.
And I can't but help mention when we talk about, we've been waiting for disclosure. Didn't we just have it yesterday when Fox News released that the report on, oh my God, oh my God, is it actually here? Where they were talking about, the mass arrests and everything. And I thought, it's like, you're waiting, and then it actually something happens and you think, am I imagining this?
There's a tiny percentage of people that see that. Because I think we're all pardon?
Well, I think it's kind of like the microdosing too. Like when you do the big one, the big one, where you're seeing colors, it's a big hit. But like I was waiting for that big hit, but no, real healing comes in tiny increments. And that's what, so it's all, you can say the micro of microdosing, mirroring the macro, where it is micro too, where it's slowly, things are coming slow and slowly, and it's creating that. Cause I mean, we can just take it to a real simple level, like when people want to go on a diet to lose weight. Sorry, Robbie's very excited right now. I don't know if y'all can hear that. He's the sheriff. He sheriffs everybody that walks by. When people go to lose weight, right? When you drop weight really quickly, it comes back fast, right? But if it's a slow process, it stays off because better habits are being established that are going to be more permanent. And I think that's where the patience comes in, where we have to be very patient with the macro as well as the micro. And I think that patience is working on the micro.
That's one of my main lessons in this lifetime, patience, because when you see yourself as a spiritual, eternal being, and you've been in all the other, cosmic areas, and you've been able to manifest like that, boom, I can manifest, that quickly. And you come here and it's so dense and so slow, and it's this 3D reality that you're trawling through. Oh my God, isn't that lesson patience for so many people? It's just to and I think it's getting quicker now to manifest, like it is getting much more instantaneous than it was, but such a lesson in this lifetime to be able to just release in non-attachment the things that we want and trust that they'll come in divine alignment. Oh my God, that's such a big one.
I think that, part of what as society has not served us is this instant gratification. Looking through, and how much do you miss? So when I live in the beautiful sandy woodland, and it's just amazing. So when I walk slowly, the amount of wildlife I see just in the sand, and I'm not talking about the snakes and the lizards, I'm talking about the different types of ants, the different types of bugs.
You don't have snakes, do you, Catherine?
We do have snakes. We have snakes.
Really?
Okay, but only two. Yeah.
Oh, lucky you. We've got like hundreds.
Yeah. But but when how much you miss when you rush through life. And my friends used to say that they put hurry up on my gravestone because I was always in a rush to everything, because everything's so exciting. I mean, people take the mick out of me because I'm like, oh, this is exciting and that's exciting. But learning to slow down, oh my goodness, and how much would we have missed if we didn't look at those micro details? But again, we were talking about this earlier, Brice, it's like we tend to, because we're all speaking to people that are looking at these information sources, we forget that there's a huge percentage of the population that don't ever see any of these things that we all see. But by us taking it on board and seeing it, that's going to have an effect on how we behave and what energy we're putting out there, which is going to have a ripple effect to everyone, even if they're not watching the Fox News thing.
Yeah.
That reminds me of looking at the world too, with that microcosm, that, that detail, which we perhaps missed before. We saw things happening and it actually wasn't reality or the truth or of what's really happening, because we maybe glossed over things and we didn't look in detail at things. I mean, even, when you think about, child trafficking, things like that, if you don't look closely at what's really happening underneath, you're going to skim past that, you're going to miss it, you're going to so I think that ability to see things at a closer level is really important in order to be able to see the bigger picture more accurately.
Yeah, so important.
It's like sorry, carry on. with even with the hard stuff, like you know, like this weekend I said I finally was able to like cry over a situation that happened in December, because I was able to actually feel, because I wasn't in survival mode, I was able to actually feel a broken heart. I was able to feel the pain of betrayal and the sorrow that it brought with it. And there's something, as horrible of a feeling as that is, I don't know anybody who really likes to cry and likes to be there, but there's beauty there if you can lean into that. And that's what the micro does. When we really start to look at things in a very, like looking at the nature, you're able to lean into these cracks. And it's like the more the heart breaks, the more the light comes in. And so the more we're able to look at even the darkness, the more the light can actually come in, and there can be a friction and a change that happens. And so, and that is the beauty of slowing down.
I love you said that, Brice, that it's making that space to be able to feel the things that we don't necessarily want to feel, the negative things, the sadness. I was the same as you, and maybe it was a global energy, but I had a good cry in the last couple of days as well about everything. And there wasn't anything specifically, but I just felt all this energy coming up to be released. And it's a great thing, isn't it? Because instead of holding it in your body and suppressing it or avoiding it or ignoring it, you're actually allowing yourself to transmute it and release it. And this is part of this whole process. It's so important. And human beings, like you say, will do anything to avoid pain. You know, we don't want to feel that, but actually that there is great beauty and presence in going into that space where you can feel things fully. You're not just partially feeling them, but you're able to feel them fully, because then when you feel them fully and you release that, it makes room for all the good stuff. It's like if you numb the sadness and the pain and the grief, then you'll also not be able to, on the other end of the spectrum, feel the joy, because you'll be numbing that as well. And so when you allow yourself to feel the depths of the emotion, and emotion is energy in motion, and it flows and it changes and it moves all the time. So when you go in and feel the depth of that emotion on what we perceive as a negative side of the spectrum, you're allowing yourself to feel the great extremes of all the really good stuff that comes in. And I find with a lot of, and it's not a judgment, but with what I've observed with a lot of antidepressants and things like that, is it just puts a block on your ability to be able to go in and feel these things, so that then you end up not feeling much at all.
Yeah. And recognizing, I think that, there's a time and a place, and to sort of, I had the same as you. It definitely must be global energy, because Friday my body just crashed and it was purging in a more physical way. And I just had to just stop, because my body just said enough. And whatever way, we will get the signs. And I think what's really wonderful, and what we've got in our friendship, is just having the resources around you to know when you've got that backup support, even if it's not sort of physical, for when you're ready, so all of us have chosen this time where our bodies, our minds, our souls are ready to release certain things. And I think people respecting that for themselves, that, you'll know when the time's right, and support is out there for people for when it's right for you to process certain things.
Yeah. The energies of the sun, are really powerful at the moment, and the light encodings that are coming down. And scientists have been just showing in the last week that they've been finding high frequency solar emissions that they've never experienced before or seen before, and they don't know how to identify them or explain them. And so this is also part of this shift that we're feeling and releasing all these emotions and things, because we're releasing these really high frequency bursts of energy that we've never experienced before, and they're dredging up all the unhealed, soul wounding that's been within us, and allowing it to come up, and it's activating our DNA in other ways to really help in the ascension. So, not only are we globally being encouraged to release this, but there's all these energetic reasons why we're experiencing this as well.
Yeah, it's lovely. Well, it's a lovely chat, you girls. we're going to have to apologize to David. What I am going to do is David Cohen, obviously everyone's links will be below. I'll put the link to your Rumble interview. Obviously Medyhne's links will be below. But David has released on his YouTube channel, David Cohen Music, a really lovely new song. I'm sure you ladies
so good.
Heard it.
It's so good.
So I am going to also put the link to that, and then when David joins us, hopefully sort of within the next week, we'll let him play that and explain behind that, because I find it's really good, it's really catchy, and
Yes.
following his passion with that. So thank you so much, ladies. Any other closing words before we finish?
I just want to say my friends are so cool. You guys are so cool. David is so cool. Like, how many talented people are out there right now just doing their thing? And that is such a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And even though David's not with us, like, I'm proud of him for putting that out, because and for everybody, for you both as well, putting all your work out, like it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out like that. And with courage, there has to be faith as well. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you, Brice. It's beautiful to share. I really appreciate that. You know, I think what I find for me as well is it's separating the ego from putting myself out there, because there's such a thing as a negative ego, where you know, when people make comments and things like that, and you're putting yourself out there, if you're too attached to your own ego, you're going to block yourself. So it's like separating my ego from all this and saying, well, this is my mission, I've got to do it. And regardless of, you know, perceptions and my own, how my own ego, my negative ego is impacted, I release and transmute that. And then I just do what I need to do to be on my soul mission. So I think, and that is also a reflective of the whole ascension process, which is transmuting negative ego and being able to release control and surrender into the divine flow. So thank you.
Oh, and I would just like to thank you both. And on the subject of ego, I've got lots more coming up about messages from the animals, because they really, really teach us literally living examples of how to let go of that. Thank you so much to everyone who's watching. We all really, really, really appreciate anyone who takes the time to watch this, because when we do, all our energies are mingling. They're all creating, and we're co-creating together. And all three of us, and David as well, we're really lucky, touch wood, to have really amazing listeners, because we see so many positive comments where people are supporting each other. And this is a new world that we're creating. We're creating a world where we're going to put our energy into positive, you know. I'm sure our mothers have all said it. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And I just think it's, you know, you guys, anyone who's watching this, virtually all of you are really examples of that. And every time you take the time to say something nice to someone else, you are literally changing the world. So thank you so much, anyone who's watching. Thank you, ladies.
It's spiritual family, isn't it? It's our spiritual family.
Is.
We're all just walking each other home with our dogs, right?
Yeah.
Well, I will say, what we say in the South is, if you can't say anything nice, come sit beside me.
Yeah. That's even better.
Southern women are savage. So
I'll just with a look, I can just turn someone to thanks everyone, and we will be back soon with David, and we will give him more of the floor. Take care.